7 months pregnant, starving, and soaked by the rain. All Maria wanted was a scrap of food. She never imagined that the man she asked for help was one of New York's loneliest billionaires. Alexander Sterling didn't just give her a plate of food, he gave her a home, a new life. But what seemed like a fairy tale concealed a web of lies and shocking secrets. For Maria was not who she claimed to be, and a discovery at the hospital would reveal a connection to Alexander's past that no one could have predicted, igniting a silent war that threatened to destroy them all. Maria clutched her 7-month belly and approached the businessman's table. "Excuse me, sir," she said, her voice trembling from the cold and hunger. "Is there anything left over that you're not going to eat?" Alexander Sterling paused, his knife hovering over a $200 steak, and looked up. Before him stood a young, pregnant woman in wet, torn clothes. Her eyes were filled with tears and profound desperation. "How long has it been since you've eaten?" Alexander asked, feeling a strange stirring in his chest, a pang of humanity he hadn't felt in a long time. 3 days, sir. I swear I'm not an addict or anything. It's just, I lost my job when they found out I was pregnant," Maria answered, her hand protectively shielding her belly. The entire restaurant fell silent. The wealthy patrons stopped eating to stare with disdain. "How disgusting!" a woman dripping in jewels muttered. "How do they let these people in here?" "She's probably another scam artist," commented another man. "I bet she's not even really pregnant." A wave of anger washed over Alexander. He saw that Maria was trembling, not just from the cold, but from pure shame. "Sit here, next to me," he said, pulling out a chair. "Waiter, bring another plate for my guest." The waiter, startled, whispered, "Mr. Sterling, but she can't stay here. She'll scare off the other customers." "I said, bring another plate," he repeated, his voice louder, laced with authority. "And also bring a sweet orange juice for the expectant mother." Maria couldn't believe it. "Are you sure, sir? I'm so dirty." "You just need some help," Alexander replied. "Tonight you will eat whatever you want." As Maria ate slowly, each bite feeling like a miracle, Alexander felt his once empty heart begin to fill. He learned she was homeless and that the baby's father had abandoned her. In that moment, he made a decision that would change his life. He took her to his empty mansion on the Upper East Side, a place filled with luxury but devoid of life. "Maria," he said as they arrived, "I think I'm the one who's being saved here." That night, Maria took her first hot shower in months, crying with gratitude. But at 3 a.m., a terrible pain awoke her. She screamed for help. Alexander rushed to her, picking her up in his arms and racing to the hospital, driving like a madman through the streets of New York. At the hospital, as he waited, the doctor approached him with a serious expression. "Mr. Sterling, the young woman is stable, but we discovered something in her tests. She's not 7 months pregnant. She's 9 months. The baby could be born at any moment." Alexander was in shock. Why would she lie about that? But the doctor continued, "And there's one more thing. We discovered the baby is a girl, and she has a very rare birthmark on her neck, a star-shaped birthmark." Alexander's legs felt weak. A star-shaped birthmark on her neck. He knew that mark. It was the same one his younger sister, kidnapped 21 years ago and never found, had. He ran to the room. "Maria, what is your mother's full name?" "Carla Evans," she answered, confused. "Did your mother have a birthmark on her neck?" "Yes, a little star-shaped mark. I always wished I had one just like it." It was her. After 21 years of searching, millions spent, private investigators hired, his long-lost sister had appeared in his life, pregnant and begging for scraps of food. Tears streamed down Alexander's face. "Maria, I'm your brother!" What seemed like the end of a fairy tale was in fact just the beginning of a nightmare. For the woman who raised Maria was not who she seemed, and an even darker secret was about to surface, threatening to destroy this new family. Keep watching to discover the shocking truth. The news that they were siblings, confirmed by a DNA test, bonded them in a way they never imagined. But their joy was cut short by the arrival of Carla, the woman who had raised Maria. She didn't come to celebrate, but to warn. "Maria, you can't be near this man. He's dangerous." Carla, desperate, revealed a terrifying story. Alexander and Maria's father was a cruel man, addicted to gambling, who planned to sell the infant Maria to pay off his debts. According to Carla, their biological mother, Teresa, had begged her to save the baby, which is why she fled and raised her as her own. Alexander was devastated, his world turned upside down. But the truth was even more complex. A detective who had been investigating the case for years showed up at the hospital with a bombshell revelation. Carla was no savior. She had been their father's mistress and had kidnapped Maria out of revenge after he abandoned her. As the detective arrested Carla, she screamed one last enigmatic phrase that left everyone in shock. "You think you've found the whole truth? There's still one more secret that will destroy you both." That secret came to light days later through old documents the detective uncovered, and it was devastating. Alexander was not Teresa's biological son. He had been adopted at age 3. And Maria, in turn, was not Alexander's father's daughter, but the result of an affair Teresa had with the family's gardener. The conclusion was staggering. They were not siblings, not by father, not by mother. The blood tie that had united them was an illusion. The revelation threw them into a sea of confusion. "So, we're not brother and sister?" Maria asked, lost. "No," Alexander replied, his heart heavy. "But does that change anything? You're still the only family I have." In the months that followed, they tried to navigate this strange new reality. They were a family, but not by blood. They were a mother and father to Hope, the baby, but they were not a couple. And in the midst of this confusion, a new feeling began to grow between them, a feeling they both tried to ignore, afraid of complicating their lives even further. "Alexander," Maria said one night, I think I'm falling in love with you." "I am too, Maria, and I'm terrified." But fate had one last cruel twist in store for them. One of Alexander's ex-girlfriends, Beatrice, a wealthy and obsessed socialite, could not accept that he had left her for a former homeless woman. She discovered Maria's best-kept secret. She had an identical twin sister, Marianne, who had been raised by a wealthy family and was now destitute. Beatrice made a diabolical proposal to Marianne. "I'll pay you a fortune to impersonate your sister, win Alexander over, make him fall in love with you, and then destroy him by abandoning him, and then I'll be there to pick up the pieces." Marianne, driven by envy and desperation, agreed. The switch was made. While the real Maria was held captive, Marianne, a colder, more seductive and calculating version of her sister, entered Alexander's life. He, noticing the change in Maria's personality, believed she was maturing and fell even more deeply in love with her. He proposed to her again, planning a new ceremony to celebrate their new beginning. The plan was working perfectly, but Marianne's made one mistake. She truly fell in love with Alexander. At the same time, the real Maria managed to escape her captivity and rushed to warn the man she loved. The final confrontation happened on the night Alexander and Marianne were to celebrate their new engagement. Maria burst into the mansion, shocking everyone. The truth about the switch, about Beatrice's plan, about Marianne's envy,
It all came out in an explosion of tears, accusations, and confessions. In the midst of the chaos, Alexander looked at the two identical women before him. One he loved for her sweetness and resilience, another he was drawn to for her confidence and passion. But he knew where his heart belonged. "Marianne," he said sadly, "I fell in love with the woman you pretended to be, but the woman I truly love is your sister." He turned to Maria. "I know our story began with lies and deception, but my love for you and our love for hope is the only truth that matters. Will you forgive me?" Maria looked at the man who saved her, at the sister who betrayed her, but now wept with regret. And she knew the answer. That day, happiness wasn't found in a mansion or a bank account. It was found in forgiveness.